Welcome to After Hours, where stories come alive after dark. I'm your host, and the story continues. Previously on The Inheritance, Marcus discovered the documents are missing one page. Page 48. The only page with names. His father's attorney, Elena, revealed she's been working against the council for 8 years. Victor was going to expose everything. He died 11 days before the deadline. The woman on the phone gave Marcus 48 hours to find the missing page, and Marcus remembered something from his childhood. A wooden box, locked away in his father's closet, hidden among things that needed to stay hidden. Tonight, Marcus searches for answers in his mother's old belongings. But what he doesn't know is that someone searched those boxes first. This is episode 3, The Wooden Box. Saturday morning. Desiree was still asleep when I slipped out of bed. I told myself I was being considerate, letting her rest. The truth was simpler. I didn't want to explain why I needed to dig through boxes I'd ignored for 4 years. Our building has a storage unit in the basement. A chain-link cage with a padlock. Inside, holiday decorations we never use, furniture from our first apartment, and 6 cardboard boxes labeled Cole Estate. My mother died 7 years ago. Cancer. The kind that takes its time. I flew home for the last 3 weeks of her life, and we talked about everything except what mattered. After the funeral, I had her storage unit cleared. Everything shipped to New York. I told myself I'd go through it eventually. Eventually never came. The boxes were dusty, undisturbed. At least they looked undisturbed. I pulled the first one down. Kitchen items. Dishes I remembered from childhood. A cracked mixing bowl. Wooden spoons worn smooth from use. The second box. Photo albums. My parents' wedding. My first birthday. Christmases I barely remembered. In every photo, my father stood slightly apart from the frame. Present, but distant. Even then. Third box. Fourth box. Old clothes. Books. A jewelry case with my mother's rings, the ones Desiree wears on our anniversary. Fifth box. I knew it the moment I opened it. Someone had been here before me. The contents were wrong. Not obviously wrong. Everything was folded, organized, placed with care. But I knew my mother. She labeled everything. Her handwriting, small and precise, on index cards tucked into every container. Winter sweaters, 1995. Tax returns, 1988 to 1992. Marcus, school projects. ... This box had no labels, no index cards, just items placed where items should go, by someone who didn't know the system. And at the bottom, beneath a layer of my father's old business cards, I found an empty space. A rectangular indentation in the newspaper lining. Something had been there. Something box-shaped. The wooden box. It was gone. I stood in that basement for a long time, staring at the empty space where my father's secrets had been. Someone had found it first, taken it, and I had no idea who, or when, or what they'd found inside. But I knew one thing with absolute certainty. The woman on the phone had said Victor was a planner, that he would have left a way for me to find the missing page. If the wooden box was that way, then someone else had the page now, and I had nothing. Hey, where'd you go? Basement, storage unit. At 7 in the morning? I couldn't sleep. Thought I'd finally go through my mom's things. Marcus, you've been avoiding those boxes for 4 years. I know. And suddenly, the morning after you find out your father died, you need to sort through them? It felt like the right time. Did you find what you were looking for? She knew. Of course she knew. She always knew when I was hiding something. The only question was how long she'd let me hide it. No, someone went through the boxes before me. What do you mean? Things were moved, rearranged. Something was taken. When? I don't know. Could have been years ago. Could have been last week. What was taken? A box. A small wooden box that belonged to my father. What was in it? I don't know. I never looked inside. He always kept it locked. And you think, what? Someone broke into our storage unit to steal a box you never opened? I know how it sounds. It sounds like you're not telling me something. Marcus, look at me. Whatever this is, whatever's happening with your father's death, you can tell me. You know that, right? I know. Then tell me. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But every time I opened my mouth, I heard the man's voice on the phone. Your wife teaches at Lincoln Elementary. She stays late on Fridays. ... Telling Desiree would make her a participant. And participants get targeted. My father left me some documents, financial records, things he didn't want anyone to find. What kind of documents? Evidence of crimes committed by people who don't want to be exposed. Marcus, I think they killed him. Made it look like a heart attack. And now they want the documents back. Oh my God. The man who called yesterday, he threatened you. Said he knew where you work. What time you stay late. That's why I asked you to come home early. We need to go to the police. I can't. Why not? Because I don't know who's involved. These people have connections everywhere. Politicians. Businessmen. Maybe law enforcement. Then we leave. We pack a bag, and we go somewhere they can't find us. They'll find us. They found my father, and he'd been hiding for 30 years. So what do? I find the missing page. The one piece of evidence that can bring them down for good. And if you can't find it, I have to find it. Hold on. Hello? Mr. Cole, we need to meet. Elena? Not on the phone. There's a coffee shop on Atlantic Avenue. The Blue Crane. 1 hour. Why? Because someone searched your storage unit 3 days before your father died. And I know who. The Blue Crane was a Brooklyn institution. Exposed brick, mismatched chairs, the kind of place where everyone pretends not to listen to everyone else's conversations. Elena was already there when I arrived. Back corner, facing the door. You came alone. You said we needed to meet. I said we. I didn't say anything about your wife. She's at home. Does she know? Some of it. Enough to be scared. Good. Fear keeps people careful. You said someone searched my storage unit. 3 days before Victor died. November 14th. How do you know? Because I had someone watching the building. You were watching my building? I was watching the storage unit. Victor told me about the boxes. Said there was something important hidden inside. The wooden box. Yes. Who took it? Victor did. What? November 14th, 2:47 p.m. Victor Cole entered your building using a key, presumably one he'd kept from when he helped your mother move her belongings into storage. He spent 23 minutes in the basement. Then he left carrying a small wooden box. My father was in New York 3 days before he died. He was in New York a lot over the past year. You just didn't know it. Why? Preparing, moving pieces, setting things in motion for when he couldn't anymore. He took the box himself, so the missing page was inside. Almost certainly. Then where is it now? That's the question, Mr. Cole. Victor retrieved the box 3 days before his death. He had a meeting scheduled with me for November 19th, 2 days after he died. He was going to give me the page then. But he died before the meeting. Died. Was killed. However you want to phrase it. So between November 14th and 17th, my father had the wooden box. Had the page. And then he died. And everything he was carrying with him disappeared. Disappeared how? His apartment was cleaned out before I could get there. Professionally. Within hours of his death being reported. The council. Almost certainly. So they have the page. Maybe. Victor was careful. Paranoid even. He knew they were watching him. Knew they suspected something. He wouldn't have kept the page on him. Not something that valuable. Then where? I don't know. But I know Victor. He had contingencies for his contingencies. If the page isn't with the council, and I don't think it is, then it's somewhere else. Somewhere only someone close to him would think to look. I haven't been close to him in 12 years. Close doesn't mean recent. It means connected. Think, Mr. Cole. Where would your father hide something he never wanted found? What places mattered to him? What memories did he protect? I don't know anymore. I spent 12 years trying to forget him. Then start remembering. Because whatever's on that page, the names, the connections, the proof, it's the only leverage you have. Without it, you're just a man with numbers. Numbers can be explained away, dismissed, denied. Names can't. I bought you time with Wexler. Told him you were cooperating, that you needed a week to get your affairs in order. A week? He gave you 5 days, starting yesterday. And then? Then he comes to collect. And I won't be able to stop him. Find the page, Mr. Cole. Your father died to protect it. Don't let that be for nothing. I walked for a long time after Elena left. Through Brooklyn Heights, down to the promenade, watching the city across the water. My father had been in New York, walking these same streets, maybe standing in this same spot. And I never knew. He could have called, could have knocked on my door, could have said something. But he didn't. Even at the end, he chose secrets over connection, chose protection over presence, just like he always had. I tried to remember, tried to think about what mattered to him, what he protected. But everything I knew about my father was filtered through anger, through the lens of a 22-year-old who just learned his whole childhood was built on lies. Before that night, before the fight that ended everything, who was Victor Cole? He was a man who worked late, who kept his office door locked, who smiled at dinner but never laughed. He was a man who took me to baseball games and explained the math of batting averages, who taught me to balance a checkbook at 10 years old, who told me numbers never lie, even when people do. And he was a man who loved my mother, in his own broken way. I remembered their wedding photo, the one I'd seen in the boxes this morning. Victor standing stiff in his suit, my mother radiant beside him. They'd gotten married at a church. Small ceremony. Family only. And afterward, they'd gone somewhere, a place Victor mentioned once when he thought I wasn't listening. Our first night together, he'd told my mother, "Remember that little hotel? The one with the garden?" She'd laughed. "How could I forget? You were so nervous you couldn't get the key to work." "The Ashford," he'd said. "Best night of my life." ... The Ashford. I searched for it. The Ashford Hotel. Found one result in New York. A small boutique hotel in the West Village. Built in 1923. Family owned. It was a long shot. A memory from a conversation I'd overheard 15 years ago. But Elena said to think about what mattered to him. What he protected. Maybe my father had protected that memory. Maybe, at the end, he had gone back to where it all began. The Ashford was exactly what I expected. Small. Elegant. The kind of place that survived by not changing. The lobby smelled like wood polish and old money. A crystal chandelier hung from a coffered ceiling. Oil paintings of landscapes lined the walls. I approached the front desk. A woman in her 60s looked up with professional warmth. "Good afternoon. Welcome to the Ashford." "Thank you. I'm hoping you can help me with something unusual." "Of course. What do you need?" "My father passed away recently. Victor Cole. I believe he may have stayed here at some point, possibly in the last few weeks. I'm sorry for your loss." "Cole, let me check our records." "Oh, is something wrong?" "No, Yes, Victor Cole. He was a regular guest." "Regular?" "For the past year. Every few weeks, he'd stay for a night or two, paid in cash. Very quiet, very polite. He spoke about you sometimes." "He did?" "His son, the accountant, said you were smarter than he'd ever been. Said he wished he could tell you that himself." I didn't know what to say. My father had spent a year coming to New York, to the place where he and my mother had their first night together, and he talked about me to strangers. But he never picked up the phone. Was he staying here? At the end? His last visit was November 15th. He left the morning of the 16th, the day before he died. "Yes." "Did he leave anything behind? Any belongings?" "Actually, yes. He left an envelope at the desk. Said someone might come asking about him eventually. If they did, I was supposed to give it to them." "An envelope?" "Just a moment." "Here." He said to ask one question before I handed it over. "What question?" "What did he tell you the night he left?" ... The night he left. The night I was 22. The night everything ended, I'd never told anyone what he said. Kept it locked away like he kept everything locked away. But now I understood. This was his test. His way of making sure only I could claim whatever he'd left behind. He told me that everything he'd done for us, for me and my mother. That someday I'd understand. And he told me he was sorry. That he'd never stopped being sorry. That's what he said you'd say. He loved you, Mr. Cole. Whatever happened between you. He never stopped talking about you like you were the best thing he'd ever done. Thank you. I didn't open the envelope until I was 3 blocks away. My hands were shaking. I found a bench. Sat down. Tore it open. Inside, a single sheet of paper and a small brass key. Different from the one that opened the safety deposit box. Older. Worn. The paper was a handwritten note. My father's writing. The same handwriting from the first letter. Marcus, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And you've done what I hoped you would. You remembered. The wooden box is safe. I moved it before they could find it. The key in this envelope opens a locker at Grand Central Terminal. Section B, number 1147. Inside, you'll find the box and everything it contains. Page 48 is there. The names. The proof. Everything you need to destroy the people who took my life. But I want you to understand something. Before you use it, I didn't start this war. I was a young man who needed money, who had a wife and a child on the way, who made a choice I've regretted every day since. By the time I understood what I'd become part of, it was too late to leave. So I did the only thing I could. I documented everything, every transaction, every name, every crime. I built an archive of sins, theirs and mine, and I waited for the moment when it could matter. That moment is now. But it's not my moment anymore. It's yours. You were always the better man, Marcus, the honest one. The one who walked away when I couldn't. I pushed you away because I was afraid. Afraid they'd use you against me. Afraid you'd become what I became. Afraid you'd see me for what I really was. But you see me now, and I hope, I pray that you can forgive me. The page is yours. Use it or destroy it. Expose them or walk away. The choice I never had, I give to you. Whatever you decide, know that I loved you. Every day of your life, even the days I wasn't there. Especially those days. Be careful, son. Trust no one completely. Not even the ones who seem like allies. Elena has her own agenda. The woman on the phone has her own reasons. Use them, but don't believe everything they tell you. The only person you can fully trust is yourself. And Desiree. Keep her close. She's the best thing that ever happened to you. Don't make my mistakes. Don't push away the people who matter. This is my last letter. My last secret. My last gift. Make it count. I sat on that bench until the sun started to set, reading the letter again and again, hearing my father's voice in every word. He'd given me everything. The key, the location, the truth about who he was and why he'd done what he'd done. All I had to do was walk into Grand Central Terminal and claim it. But as I stood up, as I started walking toward the subway, my phone buzzed, the burner phone. Hello? You found the hotel. How did you? I've been watching. Making sure no one else was. He left me a letter. And a key. I know. You know? Marcus, I know everything your father did in his last year. Every trip to New York. Every hotel stay. Every dead drop and backup plan. I helped him set them up. Who are you? I told you. Someone he saved. Someone who owed him. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting right now. Listen to me carefully. Do not go to Grand Central tonight. Why? Because they're watching. Wexler's people. They don't know about the locker. Not yet. But they know you're searching for something. If you go now, they'll follow you. They'll take the box before you can open it. Then when? Tomorrow. Early. 6 a.m. when the station's crowded with commuters. It'll be easier to lose a tail. And you'll be there? I'll be watching. That's what you keep saying. You're watching. You're helping. But you won't tell me who you are, or why you're really doing this. I'm doing this because your father asked me to, because he trusted me with his son's life, and because I made him a promise. What promise? That if anything happened to him, I would make sure the truth came out. Go home, Marcus, get some rest. Tomorrow, everything changes. I went home. Desiree was waiting. We ordered takeout and sat on the couch and watched a movie neither of us paid attention to. I didn't tell her about the hotel, about the letter, about the key in my pocket that felt heavier than anything I'd ever carried. Tomorrow, I would go to Grand Central. I would open locker 1147. I would finally see what my father had died to protect, and then I would have a choice. Expose everything, and spend the rest of my life running from people who would never stop hunting me, or destroy the evidence, and let my father's killers walk free forever. My father said the choice was mine. But as I lay in bed that night, listening to Desiree breathe beside me, I realized something he never understood. Some choices aren't really choices at all. They're just different roads to the same destination. And I was already too far down the path to turn back. The story continues tomorrow. Marcus believes the answers are waiting in a locker at Grand Central Terminal. And they are. But so is something else. Someone has been watching Marcus. Someone besides the woman on the phone. Someone who knows about locker 1147. And they're planning to be there at 6 a.m. Episode 4, The Exchange. If you want to find out what happens next, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. New episodes drop every single day. This is After Hours. See you in the dark.